I have no words to describe how thrilled we are to see your enthusiasm to attend to our event. This event with the theme post-graduation path, letting the first job to start a dream career journey is the first HR talk which aim to become a platform as an opportunity for students to get direct insight from the experts to be better to face the desired career journey. And then now we will hear opening speech from the representative of the SPE Java section, which we have Mr. Yusuf as the head of Young Professional Division. So for Mr. Yusuf, time and place is yours. Hello, Mr. Yusuf, are you there?
Yeah. Good evening, Mas Ode. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming in our program today. Well, first of all, I would like to say and extend our big thanks to Michelle for being able, as our main speaker today, will be sharing about Baker Hughes in general, and also its recruitment process, and also some tips and tricks how you can pass the recruitment process in oil and gas industry in general. But before we start, I would like to have some kind of short introduction about SPE HR Talk. So basically, this program focuses on delivering HR and recruitment related insight to our young professional and student members who are seeking opportunities to land a job or prepare themselves for recruitment process in the future. So we all hope that this program can provide you the knowledge and insights for our young professionals and students related to HR and recruitment process. So we hope that all of us can dig in and explore more about the recruitment process with our speaker tonight, which I believe Michelle will be more than happy to share and discuss with all of us today. So thank you very much and enjoy the event. Thank you, Mas Ade. Back to you.
All right, Mas Yusuf, thank you for your speech. And then ladies and gentlemen, before we jump into the main session, I would like to give a brief explanation regarding the SPE membership. So for the Miss Jessie, time and place is yours.
Thank you, Mas Odesha. Let me share my screen first. Let me know if it's visible. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we are able to see your screen.
The PowerPoint one, right? This
Yeah,
one.
no.
A slideshow. Okay.
The slideshow.
Okay, so thank you, Mas Odesha, for giving me some minutes to introduce about membership. So my name is Jessie Bella Fania. I'm the membership officer for the SPE Java Indonesia section. So for this time, I would like to do a campaign for the membership renewals. So for those who haven't joined the membership in SPE, so who we are? So we are the largest individual member organization serving engineers, scientists, managers, and other professionals worldwide in the oil and gas industry. So we are the organization. Can you hear me okay? Because I heard some background noise.
No,
okay,
it's clear.
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, sure. All right. Thank you so much. So in the SPE, we are gathering, and then we are expanding the networking, as well as we enhance the knowledge in the oil and gas industry, as well as the energy industry. So who we are, and then how many members we have now. So we have more than 120,000 members around the world in 15 regions in 134 countries, and then we are having more than 100 events worldwide. So we provide unparalleled insights, share expertise, lifelong learning, and community strength to fuel the success of our members and the future of industry. So this is our mission and vision. For the mission, we collect, disseminate, and exchange the technical knowledge, as well as we provide the opportunities for professionals to enhance their technical and professional competencies. And then for the vision, so we want to enable the global oil and gas E&P industry to share the technical knowledge required to meet the world's energy needs in a safe and environmentally responsible manners. So in Asia Pacific itself, so SPE, we represents a lot of events, and we have 8 events in 5 locations each years. In Asia Pacific, we have more than 10,000 SPE members. We are doing conference, symposia, workshop, and forums cater to every disciplines. Maybe if you are focused in drilling and production, reservoir, so that kind of the discipline for the examples. So these the upcoming SPE events in Southeast Asia. We have the energy transitions in we have SPE symposiums such as energy transition, CCUS, decommissionings, enhancements. Those are the event will be in Kuala Lumpur and Perth. And then we are also having IADC, APOC, and IPTC as well. So for the SPE Young Professionals, we provide the benefits for those who just graduated or still in the young professionals period. So we have e-mentorings, webinars by YP for YPs, careers pathways fair, and also ambassador lectures. And then for the SPE students, we have more than 58,000 members in 117 countries. And then as you can see in the pie chart here, all of the members for the students, it's spread very great in the Middle East. They have 16% in Middle East and 10% in North America, 6% in Europe, 34% in Asia Pacific, 30% Sub-Saharan Africa, 11% in South America, and 10% in Russia and Caspian. So we have a very huge membership in the global for the students. And then for the benefits for students, they can have a student chapters, events, and resources, and then it will be free memberships. And then there are also scholarship fellowships, and then they will have a financial support. And then they can also join the paper contest, so they can share the best technical papers globally. And then they can also have the membership lecture. So the lectures and the students can also gather together, brainstorming, sharing their knowledge together. So how to join SPE? This slide overview to membership. There are professionals and students. So this is the details for the categories. So for professional members, we provide 30 USD plus 10 USD for entrance fee only. But once you renew the membership, it's just 30 USD every year. And then for the students who just graduated on the first year, you just need to pay 10 USD. And then second year after graduation, you need to pay around 25 USD. And then for students, you need to pay around 10. However, for the student in the first year after graduation, you have a sponsorship program from Chevron, so it will be free. So please join us for all of the students who haven't joined SPE. And then how to contact SPE Java. These are the contact of my colleagues, Pak Tommy Jamail and also Chaksananda Orayandi. You can also screenshot this slide with the phone number and email. You can reach out to them how to join the SPE, and also you can watch YouTube the video on how to join SPE as well. So everything is clear in the videos. So these are the payment options. We accept the payment by online using a credit card, and then also check or money order, PayPal as well, and then wire transfer. And then there are lifetime membership and company bulk payment if the company wants to subscribe for all of the company's members, something like that. So please reach out to us, and then we will happily to explain more details about the payment methods. And then these are the another payment option about use waiver. If there is any permanent disability or unemployment, these are the requirements that you need to complete. We will also help you on these matters. Please reach out to us about this. And then this is the arrange that once you, for example, once you forget to renew the membership for several years, you can also reinstate. There are two options to reinstate the membership. It's also doable, so please let us know, and then we will explain to you how to reinstate the membership. So yeah, this is from me, the membership division. If there's any question, please feel free to reach out to Chessy, Tommy, or Chaksananda. Thank you so much. So yeah, over to you, Odesha.
All right, Machesi, thank you very much for such a great information, and hope after this, all our participants here become our members. Okay. Okay, so let me share again my screens. Okay, so before we are heading to the main session, please let me give you a short introduction of our speakers tonight. So for tonight, we have Michelle from the Baker Hughes as the University Relation Manager APAC, and she has a lot of experience of working in multi-industry, and right now she is working at one of the biggest service company in oil and gas industry. And then for tonight's session, we will hearing the knowledge and the experience from her, and so I will hand over the session to the moderators, which is we have Mr. Rizky and also Miss Beta. So for Mr. Rizky and Miss Beta, time and place is yours.
All right, thank you so much, Masode. Okay, good evening, everyone. So as previously mentioned by Masode, I'll be in charge as a moderator for this event. My name is Rizky, and also I am accompanied by co-moderator tonight. Here we have a student volunteer for from SPE UPN SC, which is Beta. Good evening, Beta. Before we are heading to the main session, allow me to quick introduce our amazing speakers for tonight's event. Her name is Michelle. Hello, Michelle. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Nice to meet you all.
How is it going, Michelle?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking.
Hope you are great, doing great as well.
Yep.
And okay, so here I will introduce you the profile of Michelle. Michelle as our speaker. She had a various work experience, as mentioned by Mas Ode previously, starting from admin executive at Master Glove and continue to business development executive at Toshiba TEC Malaysia. She also started her career as a recruiter at Manpower Staffing and proceed to team lead at Career International. After that, she has become a senior recruiter at Citibank. And finally, starting from 2019 until now, she is a University Relation Manager, APAC at Baker Hughes. Such a wonderful career life, right? So without any further ado, I will give the main session to Michelle. So for Michelle, the time is yours.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thanks for the introduction. That's a good one. And thank you so much. With that, let me just quickly share my screen. Let me know if you could see my screen. Could you see my screen?
Yes, it's crystal clear.
Oops. May I know which screens would you be able to see? Because I'm sorry, I couldn't see it from my end here. Is it the main page of career preparations, or do you see my presenter screens?
Yes, is it a main page?
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Hi everyone, good evening. Thank you so much, to spend your times today with me. Actually, I have my colleagues joining me today. Kanya, she's also in the call in case if you need to actually have any support or any assistance, she'll be here as well to join us. Basically, she's the HR partner for one of our product line, and basically now she's actually based in Jakarta. So with that, I'm going to start my presentation. So they have actually kind of like humbly introduced myself. So I'm actually based in KL, Malaysia. I'm the Universities Relations Manager for Asia Pacific, where means that I'll be managing all those graduates programs as well as internship for Baker Hughes in all these Southeast Asia countries, including Australia, China, Japan, and Korea. Okay, so with that, let me just start my career preparations. So just give you a brief introductions about who we are as a Baker Hughes. As you know, a lot of you may already heard us, right? If you're in SPE, I believe most of you will already know who we are, but we have kind of like rebrand ourselves. So we are an energy technology companies, and we kind of like innovate, technology to take the energy forward. So this will be our brands, new kind of directions or new brands that we are will move forward. And basically, we actually would like to take the energy forward. The reason why we would like to kind of like evolve and take energy forward is trying to make it cleaner, safer, and more efficient for all the peoples, the planets, and of course, so that all of us will be actually staying in a more safely environment. And of course, as just to share with you who we are an US-based company. And basically, we actually present at about 120 countries globally that are footprints, and we have about 54,000 of employees globally. And basically, we actually make generate revenues data. I mean, all this data is based on our 2021. So our revenue generated is about 21 billion, 20.5 billion to be exact. And as you can see, we spend a lot of our times, a lot of money into R&D as well. So there's about 492 million, that we actually spend on R&D to develop new technologies, so that we are enable us to actually have a better energy and more efficient kind of things that we can use, okay, to also meet our goals and purpose as well. And that's where we are able to get about 2,500 patents awarded based on the R&D that we have done. And of course, you can see what's the number of the perfect HSC that we mentioned here, 204. What does that mean to us? Basically, when you see the 204 is actually a days, a perfect HSC days that we actually have met in 2021. What this means is basically globally, there will be zero accidents happen, even a small accident or fatality. There's nothing happening in 2021. So that's how we are able to achieve that days. And this will actually apply to all the Baker Hughes offices and plant globally. So you can imagine how challenging and how precious, to achieve that days, because it's not just captured at one specific location, it's captured across the 120 countries where Baker Hughes footprints are. So that's really a good number, if you ask me, that we're able to achieve out from the 365 days, we are able to achieve about 204 days. Okay, so they're going to be a quick introduction about who we are. And as I mentioned, we are evolving. So this is our path forward. So we try to transform our course, transform basically what our current business, as traditionally we have been known as oil and gas company. But why are we doing this? It's basically, of course, trying to go with whatever the technologies are moving forward into, and also try to kind of like improve our margins. And I think all the companies that operates, they would like to kind of achieve a certain cash, a certain goals, and also generate revenues to continue our business and sustain, right? So that's where we kind of like transform the course. And of course, we do invest on some of the growth, because we are trying to drive some organic and inorganic growth in high potential segment where we have a strong position. So this is something that the companies are investing for the future. And of course, we are also positioning ourselves as a new frontiers. So making some strategies, bets, to drive some decarbonizations, and also to the energies, and also as well into the industry. So this is how are we going to position our company moving forward. And just to give you an idea, basically in Baker Hughes, what are the product companies that we have? Or in layman term, the business that we have in Baker Hughes. So these are the main 4 pillars that we actually have and how we operate. So it will actually start all the way from the full streams, downstream all the way to upstreams. But that's not all that our companies are engaged to, like digging oil, transporting, processing, and then towards the end user. But at the same time, we are trying to evolve as well, and we move all the way to digital solutions. That's where the industry that we focus would be slightly different. So the industry for our digital solutions, it could be outside of what the traditional way, like oil and gas. It could be into manufacturing, it could be into the health line, it could be in the manufacturing sector as well. So we're kind of diversified if you look at it in terms of the support or the service that Baker Hughes are providing to the market or to our customers. So that's where we are able to provide end-to-end solutions in whatever way that we can actually help the customers as well, rather than they will have too many stops to go. Okay, so this is basically just a quick introduction about our company. But of course, if you'd like to know more, feel free to actually visit our websites to understand us a little bit more. We will have our annual reports over there. We will have more information over there. I'm trying to capture what are the most important things for you just to know, to have a high level in terms of who we are as a Baker Hughes. Okay. So with that, I'm going to move into some tips, preparations, especially I do understand from the moderator that majority of the participants today are actually fresh grads, young talents, So this could be potentially your first time preparing yourself in terms of entering into the workforce. And before you do that, you need to do some preparations from your end. You need to prepare resumes as well. So sometimes you just need the guidance. I wouldn't say that there's wrong and right or wrong kind of ways to prepare your resumes, or right or wrong ways to do an interviews. But it's basically how would you be able to package and put it in a better structure so that it will actually attract the attentions of the recruiters or the managers. Given myself actually coming to about 15 years of recruitment experience, so basically that will be what I've actually seen and what I have actually experienced as a recruiter when I receive a resumes, when I interview some students. So just to give you some tips, basically more on what I have observed and what I have experienced. Okay, so these are the tips that I would like to share with you. So make it simple, I will say it, and basically also make it clear, for everyone, that when they receive your resumes, what they will able to see and what they will be able to capture at a glance. So basically what you need to have, especially for your own personal details, I would say names is important, because that's how we are able to address you, how we will be able to acknowledge that this is belong to someone else and put the face to the resumes. If you have professional titles, feel free to put it in, because I know some of your engineering, you have the engineering title, and of course, like for example, finance, you have some finance title, or if you have PhD, you have the doctorate title. You could actually put that in as well. And if you're comfortable to put your location, feel free, but it's not really mandatory. But I will definitely say that the contact details, especially your phone and your email, is really mandatory, because that's how you're able to be contacted, by the recruiter and also by the managers. You'll be surprised, because I did receive resumes before that I have the names, I have the details, which I'm keen to actually explore and connect with the candidates, but I found out that there's no contact details at all. So it's really become a bit of a waste, if you don't have that, because we will not know how to connect with you at all, to explain and to share the opportunities. So make sure that always keep it simple. You don't need all your personal details like your parents' names, even your national ID, because I noticed that some of the candidates do put in their national's ID as well, which I will say that is really PNC. So you don't have to put it in there as well. And just to avoid, scam, as you know, recently we have a lot of scam things as well happening as well. So that's basically to protect yourself. And what you need to put in your names, you have your personal details, then you put in your personal profiles. Make it short one, tailor it based on the role that you're applying for. Basically, just a quick summaries on who you are and what kind of values would you be able to contribute or offer to the companies. Make it short, within 2 or 3 sentences, that will do. So don't make it too lengthy, because as a recruiter, we have sometimes hundreds and thousands of resumes in front of us that we will keep going through different resumes. And it's really a huge challenge for us to read line by line and capture every point. So keep it simple. and direct into who you are. So at one glance or few readings, we already know what are you able to bring to the tables, right? And if you have some experience, feel free to put it in as well. Always start with the latest on the top, okay? You don't go with the diverse adverse sequence, because that's so much easier for us to know that where you are now, and then go on later on if we need to know your previous experience. So normally as a recruiter, what we're looking at is more concerning about your top 2 employment if you have, because that will be the most recent one, and that will be the most relatable one if the role requires certain experience or skills from you. If not, normally as a fresh grad, I think what you need to put is basically just your internship positions, which is relevant. I will say try to avoid your part-time if it's not relevant to the role. For example, as a barista or something else which is not relevant, I would suggest not to put it into your resumes. Keep it professionals. Put the names, put your roles, put your key responsibility, and put it in the bullet points, which is easy to catch, and try to put not more than 5 bullet points if possible, because too many, you will lose the interest. Okay, and of course, another thing that's most important is basically your education, your institute name, your major, because we will then able to match you according to the role. I will put GPA there because later on I will tell you why I need it there, specifically for Baker Hughes, because some of our early career programs, GPA is mandatory to achieve. I'll explain that later. And of course, the dates that you attended your educations. And if you need to put some skills that you possess, feel free to put it in, but not more than 4 or 5. Okay, keep it simple. And especially if you are fresh graduates, honestly, I would suggest not more than 2 pages. Sorry, fresh graduate, not more than 1 page. I would suggest just 1 page. But if you have a certain years of experience, keep it not more than 2 pages. Even though you have a few employment prior to this, try to keep it short, not more than 2 pages. Normally will be strongly advised, because as I mentioned, right, even the managers sometimes will review more than 10 resumes. They would really lose interest if that's too lengthy resumes to follow. If you have few that you have few employments going on, if it's kind of similar, you may actually summarize it or put it shorter or put it into a bullet point forms. So that would be the best way. Okay, and always start with your names, all those headings in the big and bold size, slightly bigger than the content, so that we kind of like able to read, oh, this is your education, this is your achievement, this is your personal details, and so on. And remember, always save your resume in PDF with your name, because honestly, I do receive quite a number of resumes without their names. That would be a huge challenge for a recruiter or even the managers to identify who belong to who even after we interviews, right? So it's always good to put a simple name, like for example, my name is Michelle Ng, so I'll just putting like Michelle Ng, resume of Michelle Ng, that's it. Or you just put Michelle Ng resumes, that's it. So simple one, so that we are able to catch you and put in PDF, because you do not want anyone to edit your resumes. So that's quite important point for you to format your resumes. And these are some of the powerful verbs that I will share. I won't go in details, but if you need to put a bullet points in terms of your your experience or your skills, put it there. Use these a few powerful words that helps to kind of like catch the attentions of the recruiter or the managers, and kind of like stress that, oh, you actually have helped to develop, you actually helped to improve or manage certain things, right? Start off always with these kind of powerful words, so that will be able to catch the attentions and kind of like able to reflect what you actually have exposed to during your internship or during your working experience. Okay. So with that, I'll start with the basic in terms of how do you prepare, since now we have done with preparations on resumes, what we need to prepare for interviews. So there's 2 types of interviews. As you know, things have evolved after the pandemic. It's no longer the traditional way of in-person interviews. I believe some of you, if you have attended some interviews or some assessments, it will all be in digital or virtual. So it's kind of common, and I know that these would definitely stay, or some company will adopt like a hybrid mode. So they will prefer some in-person interview, at the same time they may have the digital interview. The difference is basically, I would say both ways of interviews are more or less similar, but you need to get familiar with it, get comfortable with it, because in person is quite straightforward. It's the traditional way. You meet the person, you greet the person. That's the interview, two-way interaction. While digital interview, there's two types as well. One is live, which is very similar to in-person interviews. You have another person on another side. It's just that through the lens, and you kind of like speak to each other, which is kind of okay with it. But there's another type, which is a recorded digital interviews, which Baker Hughes is adapting it in trying to shortlist more candidate and give opportunity to more applicants, right? So digital interview by recording is actually a good kind of platforms. That's where some candidate, I know they'll be awkward to see that they are on the screen, but they don't have another person over the lens. But always with the digital interview, if it's recorded session, just bear in mind, they will always start with a what do you call it, a testing or a rehearsals practice session. Take the opportunity to adjust your lighting, to make sure that your mic are working, your video are working well. Could you still hear me? I saw my internet is not stable.
Yes, Michelle, we can
Could
hear
you still hear me? Okay, good, good. So just make sure that you're in a quiet place, comfortable place. All the lightings, the videos are working well, and your audios, and you're comfortable with it. So take that time to practice. Normally, I remember that the platforms will allow unlimited times of practice, and once you're ready, that's only you keep and join into the actual digital interview recorded sessions which the company have shared with you, so that you're more comfortable when you saw the questions appeared and you actually speak it out, because you're given a time to do digital interviews and then you record it and then you move on. So these are the two different types of interviews that I just would like to highlight, if some of you have not known that we have this kind of new technology coming up as well. Okay, and what I would say, last thing, for interview, there's no right or wrong. I would say it's all about preparations. You need to prepare for the interviews to be success. Without preparing, you're preparing yourself for failure. So it's always about preparing yourself for something else, be it interview or something in your career or something in your personal life, right? So what you need to do on your preparation time, I would say basically before applying for that role, make sure that you really read the job descriptions, job requirement as well, and do research about the companies, as well as their culture, to see whether that do you have the same kind of aspiration or goals alignment with the companies, so that you are more willing to work with the company and grow with it. So that's really important, because not just applying for the sake of applying, at the end when you join the company you realize that, oh, this is not the culture I like, this is not the companies or the industry that align with my aspiration or my goal, right? So make sure that you avoid kind of circumstances. And the reason why I say read the job descriptions and the requirement is basically you do not want to attend an interview and just realize that, hey, this is not what I'm looking for, and this is not the job that I'm aiming for my career and things like that. So it's always good to prepare. And by reading all these requirements, reading all these job descriptions, that enables you as well to kind of like prepare for certain questions, which is more personalized to you. Because when you go to an interview nowadays, it's no longer the old way where the interviewer will be the only one keep asking questions and you answer. It's a two-way communication. It's actually the interview process. The main purpose of an interview is for the interviewer to understand who you are and what kind of value you bring to them. And at the same time, it's also for you to see whether this is the right companies that I've researched, and what I'm hearing now, what I've been interviewed, is aligned to what I wanted to work for, and is the job scope that when I read the job description, is basically what I wanted to work with. Because it's a two-way for understanding, and it's just for us to get to know us a little bit more and align with our aspirations. So that's why I say preparing is very important. If this is your first time interview or first few times of interviews, practice make perfect, right? You heard this a lot of time. Even myself at times when you go for interviews, or I think back few years when I do my interviews, same thing, I will get nervous as well. I'm also a human being, and it's common, right? Because we unsure what will be going on, what kind of questions that the interviewer will ask. So you can actually take this opportunity to practice with your peers, with your coach, with your lecturer, or even with your family members, right? Because the more that you practice, the flow will be smoother. And also in a way, when you practice, you kind of able, because you will actually make your brain working. You kind of like able to anticipate what kind of questions will come out from an interviewer, because you wanted to make the role play, right? And of course, the opposite persons that act as your interviewer will try to figure out what kind of questions as an interviewer will ask to an interviewee. So that also helped to build up some questions and help you to anticipate certain questions coming from the interviewer. And when you practice this, it helps you, to craft or structure those answers, so you will not get shocked for the first time when you've been asked. So you're kind of like, oh, I anticipate this is coming, and I'm prepared, and I really talk through in terms of what are the answers that I'm able to relate based on my experience. But of course, you don't provide an answer which is hypothetical, right? Which is, you need to give a genuine answer. You need to give something that you have been experienced before, that you have gone through that, and it's really about you. You don't get it from someone else, because we would know. We manage to caught someone, when they're not sharing the real experience of themselves. Same goes to the managers. They would know. So it's always good to be genuine, be yourself. If you don't have the answer, it's okay to say that I'm so sorry, I don't have the experience, I don't have the competencies, but if I'm giving a chance, definitely I will improve on that, and I will spend time to make sure to learn with the seniors, to make sure that I improve or enhance that certain skills. It's okay to say that you don't have it. The answer are not really the key things that the interviewer are looking for. It's basically how would you be able to carry yourself and bring yourself to the tables. Okay. And of course, last thing is always pay attention to the questions that they ask, because I realize some of the interviewer would like to jump in when the interviewer asking certain questions throughout, when they haven't even complete their whole sentence. Sometimes with the starter of the questions, they felt, oh, I know this answer. So they are eager to kind of like share. But it's always good to pay attention to the whole sentence, listening first, because that's how you're able to learn as well, and trying to understand better what are the things that the interviewer would like to understand about you. Okay, last thing but not least is basically you dress up. Even though it's digital or face-to-face, it's always good to dress up properly. But of course, when I say dress up, it doesn't mean that you have to be on blazer, tie, suits, because that doesn't apply anymore in Baker. We don't require you to be on jacket, blazer, and things like that. As long as smart casual, yes, we are good with it. Okay. I hope these few tips will help you to prepare yourself in terms of how you tailors your resumes, and as well as how you're going to prepare yourself, and when I say prepare, physically and mentally, before you go for the interviews. Okay, so next, what I'm going to share is basically some of the programs, I would call it early career programs, that we have in Baker. So what you will see on my screen here is basically some of the development programs that we have. In layman terms, if you look it out there, people will call it management training, some will call it leadership programs. It's actually kind of like similar as well. And these are actually a permanent full-time positions that Baker Hughes offer. And this is actually a global programs that we have, especially on most of the countries that we are present. What does this program actually offer? What is it different from the other entry-level positions? So always when I meet a candidate, I ask them, are you looking for a job or are you looking for a career? If you're looking for a job, what is the difference, right? Job is basically you interview for that role, you get paid for the job that you've done. But career is different. We wanted to grow, we want to develop. We do not want to be stagnant or stay in a certain positions. We wanted to develop ourselves not only on the technical part, but we wanted to develop as an individuals in terms of all-rounder. Meaning that not only on your technical part, you would like to also develop on your non-technical part of it. So this would be the right programs that you could consider from Baker. And basically what we are trying to do is, as I mentioned, we try to nurture, we try to guide the recent graduates through their career shaping experience, right? So we provide you opportunities where to grow your technical skill and non-technical skills. When I say non-technical skills, it could be your soft skills like your negotiation skills, your presentation skills, your communication skills, and your confidence. It will help to boost up your confidence. And you will have opportunities as well to be involved in certain business challenges on certain projects that has been ongoing, and you also get to interact with our seniors leaders and access to some of our top leadership curriculum as well. So this is basically what we want to grow an individuals for these programs. And if you can see it on the top right, these are basically the 7 tracks that we have in Vegas. Even though it's a global program, but and it's 7 tracks over there, but not all these tracks are available in APAC, Asia Pacific, and moreover, not all of them will be actually available in Indonesia, just for you to know. So when we have these 7 tracks, how does we go about it is basically based on your background. For example, someone coming from computer science background will be looking at digital technology or be looking at engineering and technology role. Where someone coming from engineering background, it could be petroleum, it could be chemical, it could be chemicals, electrical, mechanicals, civil engineering, geoscience, petroleum. Then they could be considered looking into field engineering role, which is field roles, offshore roles, deserts roles, and things like that, which is more engineering kind of related roles, but not only limit to field engineer. We do welcome engineers, that I mentioned earlier, into sales and commercial role, and even into our supply chain, because we are a technology company. We don't limit just for someone that possess business or possess what do you call that, sales into just sales and commercial. Because our sales and commercial, you need the engineering mindset, right? You need the foundation as well. And you'll be involved sometimes in some application engineer role as well. That's the reason why we are open to any engineering to actually join our field engineer, our sales and commercial, as well as our supply chain role. Okay, so with that, I'm just going to quickly share with you some of the summary of the steps, synopsis in terms of each of the tracks. I'm not going to go through each and one of it, but if you need to know more information about this, feel free to visit our career website, because all these will actually display in our career website to give you a more detailed explanation and requirement. At the same time, we do have some of the members, current members, graduates members as well, recorded some of their videos to share their experience. Feel free to visit our websites to look at all this kind of information. Okay, and just to highlight, it's actually a 2 to 3 years programs that we actually have, you know, to kind of guide you and coach you, because you will be having a program manager to kind of be your mentor or be your coach, to make sure that you will actually complete all these programs and within the time frames, based on the job and also based on the trainings that you have to attend, and make sure that you succeed in this role and graduate and roll off into the business. Okay, it's just that during this program, you'll be coached, you'll be trained, but when you roll off to the program, that's where you will no longer be in this privileged stage, you know, to be coached. It's just basically you'll be performing the role itself already. Okay, basically this is the general programs requirements that we are looking at. So someone that will have to possess completed at least a bachelor degrees or a master degrees, and to maintain a GPA 3 out of 4. This is what I mentioned for Baker Hughes. The resumes, I would prefer to have someone with the GPA in it, because to join these programs, we need to have a certain GPAs, you know, to be able to enroll into this program, because it's a privileged programs. We wanted the company to spend time, spend resources, right, and money as well to invest in you. So that's where we would like to look into some of the talents out there in the market to join these programs. And of course, we're looking at someone that graduates from a bachelor's not more than 36 months, or someone does not possess more than 36 months of working experience to join these programs, because everything will start from scratch. That means we'll train you from zero, you know, all the way that you progress along the way. So if you have a certain years of experience, definitely I believe you would like to move with your mid-career progression, and of course to be compensated fairly as well. So that's where we put up such requirement for someone who actually graduates from the bachelor degrees. And of course, we will need to be fluent in written and spoken English, because we are global companies, and of course the common language that we need to use is English. So that will be the common things that we use. And another thing is that geographically mobile, because some of the programs that we have, it's a rotation, some of it is rotation, where you will be actually rotated to another countries or another location. So we need someone that's flexible, that are open to be moving around. But of course, you will be rolled back to your home countries, just that during the rotation, you will need to travel a fair bit. Okay, and for these programs, globally, we don't offer any sponsorships. So you need to be eligible to apply in the country that you're able to work. Including work permit, we do not offer any work permit as well. And if you have some prior experience in internship, that will be helpful as well, just for you to know, but it's not mandatory. And the opportunities that we have is, as I mentioned, one of the programs. We have two early career programs. One is Aspire, like the supply chain, sales and commercial, that will start in January and July of the year. But for the lead, the field engineer programs is actually throughout the whole year. And this is the career website link if you need to visit to understand more about the programs that we have. I think this will be my last two slides. Basically, it's just to give you an overview how's the screening or the selections process goes. So everyone have to apply in our career website. And if they meet the criteria, that's where you will progress into digital interviews. So this is something that we adapt. It's a pre-recorded questions. You need to complete within 5 days when you receive the invite. And for those unsuccessful, we will inform you. But for those that will be successful, we will have a pool that we will be inviting you into our final selections event. So final selections event, it could be virtual, it could be physical, where you'll put through about 4 to 5 different assessments, individual, group, presentation, and interviews with some of the business, we call it assessor, joining us to evaluate whether would you fit into the company, whether would you fit into the product line that we're hiring. And of course, we will come back to you in terms of whether would you be successful for the role or not within a week after the final selections event. And then after that, you will be onboarded, where you need to do the medical and background screening so that you can start with the business on time. Okay, last one that we have is that we will have our internships positions coming up very soon, especially for engineering. If you're still a student, feel free to visit our website, because we will start posting for Indonesia internship very soon. These are some of the positions that are available. And if you go into our website, you can't see the position open up yet. I have not posted the position yet for Indonesia, just for you to know, for all these early career programs, but you can actually register your interest now. So on the bottom side, when you go into the website, there's one job alert. When you click on it, you can enter your email, you can enter your name, you can enter your interest or preference, kind of job. So when we have a new posting coming up, you will receive a notifications. Okay, if not, then I'm targeting to actually post all the Indonesia role by next month, just to give you some time frames. Okay, and of course, the internship position screening process is the same. You still need to complete digital interview. The only difference is that we don't go through final selections event, but we go through the final interview process, just interviews for the internships candidates and offer. Okay, I think that's all. I know there's a lot to digest. I think that's all I have for today's presentation. Feel free to connect with me and ask questions if you need be. And of course, feel free to reach out to some of our moderator and our colleagues here, from SPE teams, if you need to ask for any questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, so thank you, Michelle. What a great presentation. Thank you for delivering such an interesting topics. But before we proceed to the next session, which is the Q&A, we will having a photo session. So for everyone, please kindly turn on the camera. And also for Michelle, can you please stop the share screen?
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. So we are still waiting for everyone to turn on the camera. And also I want to ask Mbak Vanya, would you please to help us to give instruction for capturing the photo?
Okay, Beta.
Okay, Mbak.
Okay, everyone, please turn on your camera. As usual, Mbak Tania cannot open her camera. Okay, everyone, please get ready. We'll wait for another seconds. Okay, I think I will start to capture now. Everyone, please smile in 3, 2, 1. Okay, one more time. Smile in 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you. Back to you, Beta.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Vanya, and also thank you, everyone. Also, the session will be continued by Q&A session, and as it's been mentioned by Mas Rizky, here I'm Betanindya, and will be accompanying you as the co-moderator for the Q&A session, as well with Mas Rizky. So don't miss the opportunity to ask anything regarding to the material that has been presented by Michelle in the discussion session. Hope you gain a lot of insight and enjoy the event. So for all the participants, you can drop the questions in the chat box right now or ask directly by using the raise hand feature. Okay, so we already got a question from Muhammad Isan. You can open your microphone and turn on the camera so that we can have more interactive and intimate discussion. Okay, thank you. Go on.
Yeah, for Michelle, I have a question for you. Could you explain to me what is the atmosphere in the Baker Hughes that makes you feel challenging to work there?
Sorry, could you repeat that again? You mean the working culture?
Yes, working culture that makes you feel challenged working there.
Okay. Of course, there's a challenge, but of course, there's also a fun, right? Working in Baker Hughes. I would say I will start it off with the fun part. When I joined Baker Hughes about three years plus ago, I felt it's really a very good family where everyone collaborates well, and I think we really live up to our values. As you know, Baker Hughes, we have our 4 pillar values, which is the growth, care, collaborate, and lead. So we actually demonstrate that, and we really carry the values from our day-to-day operations, but I can see in most of the employees, in Baker Hughes. Of course, the challenges is basically we're on a very lean environment, as you know, and basically we will actually, each of us were given a task that you need to perform. So that's the only challenge I would say, is that you need to always do not feel shy to ask for help, to ask to collaborate with another teams, because you have very limited hands, you have very limited resources. You need to kind of like collaborate and work with another team or another persons, to get your job done. So it's when I newly joined, I felt that it's tough, because I thought this would be my scope, things that I have to done from my end. But when you actually ask for some help, when you shout out for help, you raise your hand, it's not that difficult, it's not that challenging. So people are willing to help in whatever way they can, and they will actually, if they are not able to help you, sometimes they will even kind of like provides you that who you can go to the next person, so that helps you, enables you to kind of like complete your task on time. So that is something that I always encourage, new joiners. Don't feel shy, don't sit on your own seats only, always go out there and ask for help, connect with all the people. Even though you do not know that person, it's okay, just open up your mouth, connect with them, introduce yourself, because connection is really important in nowadays. That will actually help you to be able to complete most of your tasks and build the relations. So that is something that I just wanted you to know. Definitely, whenever you go, there's a challenge. It's just that how you're going to take the challenge and overcome it. Just come out from your comfort zone. I hope that answers your questions.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michelle, for the answer. Is it enough from Muhammad Isan?
Yeah, I think it's enough, and thank you for Michelle.
Okay, and I see Kanya is actually raising her hand. Maybe Kanya, you would like to add on?
Yes.
On
Hi
Indonesia?
everyone.
Yeah.
I'm Kanya. I'm the HR partner for sub-product line in Indonesia. So I think I just want to add up with to what Michelle is saying. One of the things that I think is pretty much different from other similar company is that in Baker Hughes we have what we call ERG. There's a short for Employee Resource Group. It is basically some sort of like a social club. So there are some teams. We have like around 7 or 8 ERGs. Each have a different theme in which employee from all over the world can join and share knowledge. And also we have activities. For example, we have a Women Network ERG, which is not only for women, but we have topics like empowerment and development, and maybe sharing knowledge of some challenges that we have in specific countries. We also have a Latino ERG. Not only people from the Latin region can join, but we also can join. We have multicultural ERG. So that's make it more interesting for one person's, even though we're only based in a country, but somehow it seems like we know our colleagues in the other part of the world. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to add on. Thank you.
Thanks, Kanya. That is really true, and that's really benefits to the employees, in Bakers, to get to know, to understand each other, because all of us come from different background, and that's help. And I know one of the topic that I kind of find it interesting myself is that sometimes we have sessions that have more for personal, not just only on work. When you mentioned on the Women's Network that one of the topic is parenting, because a lot of nowadays, young parents, they felt that one of the tough thing is to parents to actually have teenagers, and how would they be actually able to be a good parents, right? So some tips, some sharing sessions is happening as well, and it's not only open to those that are parents, but those that anyone, just to trying to understand what are the generation's mentality nowadays.
Okay, so thank you for the explanation from Michelle and also Ms. Kanya. So maybe we can go to the next questions from Raditya Iqbal. You can deliver the question now.
Okay, thank you, Beta. Hello, Miss Michelle. I'm Raditya Iqbal from SPE APAC Cepu, and I would like ask some question. Is it possible in Baker Hughes we learn from zero? It's like I'm from mechanical engineering, and right now I'm not studying supply chain management. Is it possible I'm learning a new things, like I'm applying in supply chain management and Baker Hughes? Okay, thank you, Miss.
So if I understand your questions correctly, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I'm so sorry, Radik. Yeah. Okay. I just don't want to pronounce it wrong. I'm so sorry. The pronunciations. So how should I pronounce your name? Radia. Well, is that correct?
Yeah, Michelle, maybe you can just mention Raditya or Radit.
Radit. Okay, Radit. Hi. Yeah. So if I understand correctly, is that you say start from zero, meaning that you recently graduates from mechanical engineering, right, and specializing into the materials, and you would like to move into supply chain. I would say yes, because as I mentioned, the reason why we have certain requirement is that this program is basically tailored for young graduates from 0 to 36 months of experience, right? Because we wanted to train you from scratch. We are actually building a pipeline for Baker Hughes from scratch on the future leaders. So you will be trained in terms of one level to another level. So you each kind of stages, you will be actually exposed into more preliminary trainings, and then as you go, it will be a more in-depth and advanced levels, so that you are ready and equipped to roll off and to take on a bigger responsibility or take on bigger positions. So I would say yes, it will start from scratch to train you. That's why I say with someone with some certain years of experience, at least 4 or 5 years of experience, they felt that I do not want to start everything from scratch anymore, because they felt that what I have done earlier will be not be considered. So they rather move into a mid-level career rather than into these graduate programs. Okay, so I hope that answers your questions.
Okay, is it already enough for Reddit, or do you have any follow-up questions?
I don't know, maybe he can't unmute himself.
Hello, Reddit. You can hear us? Oh, okay. So
okay, I can unmute myself. Okay. Thank you for the answer, Michelle. It's nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you, Miss.
Good.
It's very helpful answer. Thank you.
Just anyone, if you're going to address me, please just call me Michelle. You can just excuse the miss. I'm not used to it. I think I told the team as well.
Yeah, we already discussed it. So, Michelle, I think we have a lot of enthusiasm from participants right now. So we are moving to the next question, I think, for our next participant, which is, I don't know, which is Christian, Mr. Christian or Miss Christian Leandro. Go ahead, please. You can deliver your question. I will unmute you.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Can hear.
Can you hear me clearly? Because I have
Yep.
some noise disturbance here.
I still can hear you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Leandro. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you for the presentation and thank you to Michelle for his insightful experience in this area. I had 2 questions. I don't want to
Okay.
cover too much time, so I will be on the point. The first question is how to deal with an interview that is set to be virtually, but for example, I had a strange experience in the past because I got a final interview that was pre-recorded, but this interview was for an internship, but all the questions in the interview were related to work experience. So I was not able to answer correctly because I was still a student, so I got no answer for those questions. How should we ask this kind of interviews? Because there was no way to interact. It was pre-recorded with time set, so that happened to me. So that's my first question. My second one is related to the program of Baker Hughes. You already mentioned, Michelle, the graduate early career program. It happens with this, how long it takes for a notification period to start. I apply in my home country. By the way, I am Indonesian, but I'm here doing a master. I'm applying in my home country, but it already happened like 10 months and there is not any progress. And at the moment, I would like to update my CV that I presented to the application, but I think I cannot because in the past I tried to change a CV in an application with Baker Hughes and the software or the interface didn't let me to update. As when I withdraw, I already was eliminated in the process. So I had my old CV already 9 months old, and now my status as a graduate is kind of different. So in that case, for example, what should I do? Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. Okay, on your first questions, Leandro, on the internship recorded, if I understand, because there's a bit of background disturbance, if I catch your question is that you're asking, you're an student, you don't have working experience, and you will be asked to certain questions, which is somehow kind of related to the work experience. I would say that basically at the beginning of the I recall back the questions that if you're referring to Baker Hughes questions, right? We normally, when we start off the interviews, there's an introductions part where we actually explain to you that based on the question that you need to answer based on what you actually have gained during your internship, or if you don't have any internships experience, then you actually relate something that you have learned during your university's time. You can relate with some of the projects, you can relate with some of the assignment that you have been assigned to do it, because it's basically kind of similar kind of things that we are looking for in terms of the teamwork, in terms of some of your priorities and things like that. So you can relate with what you have actually learned in your universities or during your internship. So that will always be the best way. If you don't have internship, if you don't have a working experience, relate back to what you have actually engaged with during your universities. It's always good to use a more professional examples rather than your personal examples like home, or that kind of relation stuff. I would definitely not recommend that kind of answer. So that's on your first questions. And on your second questions, I think if you're referring to Baker Hughes platforms when you applied about 10 months ago, that should be a technical glitch, because last year we do actually face a huge technical issue where we close up the positions, normally the candidate will receive a notification mentions that either you're successful or you're not successful for the roles, and you should receive an email. But last year we actually hear a lot of our candidates that they did not receive any notification, and we highlight this to the team already to look at it, and please rectify it as soon as possible. As I'm aware of, we should have gotten that issue solved for now, so the candidate should receive a notification from us already. And for how long you normally would get notified, especially for early career programs, I would say that the process are slightly longer than the normal positions that you entry-level positions that you apply. So normally it will take approximately, you know, from 3 months to 6 months. Because like for example, now I'm hiring for 2023, and now we are still at the last, towards the end of Q3, right? Just going to step into Q4. So, but I already start for 2023. And these are, of course, all the headcounts for next year. So we could actually open up the application now, that it doesn't mean that we're going to start hiring them now. It's basically, as you know, we wanted to start the process and get the candidate to apply, because some of y'all will be graduating very soon, end of the year, as you see the calendars over the unices across. I will take a few examples. For example, in Indonesia, if I remember correctly, that you will be graduating like April and September, if I'm not wrong. And you know, and at times we can't really hire you before you graduate, right? So we have to wait, but we need to start the process now. And for some countries, you know, like challenging country like Japan, you know, like China, we start way ahead, like 1 year ahead. Even, you know, to the process, because if not, by the time we're going to start the process and towards when they're going to graduate, we may lose all the talents already. So that's the reason why normally for these early career programs, we have a bigger durations where we post it now. You will go through the process of digital interview, but towards the final selections event, it will only happen next year, not this year. Okay, I hope that answers your questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Michelle. What a great information from recruitment process in Betanindya. So I think for the next question, we will move to the chat box real quick. So here we have the first question from the chat box. I think from the participants.
Okay.
Mr.
Favorite. I think I can read that questions.
Yeah,
Favorite.
Oh,
It is necessary to be honest on your future plan. I will say, honestly, I will say yes. You have to be honest. And because the reason why I say honest, because we are trying not to, I know where you're coming from, right? Because you wanted to grab the opportunity, but at the same time, you would like to pursue your higher educations. But if you have that plans already, you can share with them. But if, of course, you can discuss that with the managers, because certain programs we need commitment from you. Like for example, some of our field engineer program is 3 years. We need commitment, and we wanted you to stay on, and that could be potentially some discussions that you can have, right? That you may study. I mean, we do encourage, don't get me wrong, we definitely encourage you to pursue your higher educations. It's just that some negotiations can take place, you know, that maybe you will take it as part-time, or they will be able to release you, you know, maybe working on some kind of different hours and things like that. But it doesn't mean that all the roles are able to do that. But it's always good to be honest, because you don't want to go into the role after a few 1 or 2 years, then you just tell that, hey, I'm actually looking to pursue my master because this is the plan, but you have not shared that earlier with the managers. So to build your trust, to build the confidence, and you will not know, right? I mean, the industry could be very small, honestly, if you ask me. You do not want it to just trying to enter, and then 2 years you just not left just to pursue a master, and because you already have that plan, and when the managers find out, you know, the trust are no longer there. And who knows, one day you will be meeting each other again. The world is quite small, if you ask me. So it's always to be genuine and honest in terms of your aspiration. There's no right or wrong. It's just that each level, each of us will be making a different decision. It's all about ourselves. Always take care of ourselves, you know, what we wanted to develop. But just that at that moment, at that time, what will come along the way, and that's how you make your decisions. And I believe when you make that decisions, that's the best for you.
Oh, wow. But I'm afraid that you have missed another question, which focus on organizational experience, which delivered by still in Mr. Fabian question. Do you have any advice? Yeah.
When you say organizations experience, is that possible to even elaborate further, Fabian? If you can come unmute, because I'm just trying to make sure that I understand your questions correctly.
Okay, I think maybe Mr. Fabian could ask directly to make it clear, but if Mr. Febrian is not available, I think we can move to the raise hand, the raise hand one. Okay, I think Mr. Febrian just responds now from the HR Talk experience from the campus organization. Oh, so I think like SPE have a student chapters and YATMI in Indonesia, such like that. Could you elaborate? Is that any significant impact for the interviewer to express our experience organization?
I don't still catch that again. Could you repeat that again, Rizky?
Yeah, Mr. Fabian just okay, okay, Mr. Fabian. Mr. Fabian just elaborate the question. So he's answering that the experience that he means before is experience from the campus organization. Maybe such as like SPE or SPE.
Okay. So now I get it. So basically, I mean some tips, promoting some of the organizations through the interviewer.
Yeah.
You can honestly, there's no right or wrong as I mentioned, right? So you can kind of like promote it to them, and you can even shout out, because this showcase that you are able to kind of like handle different skills at the same time when you're actually having your studies, right? So, and this kind of initiative are a great initiative, which would take, that means you are able to put in extra times, extra efforts on top of what you need to perform during your full time during academy, which is beneficial for your unices, and which is beneficial for yourself as well to learn. And how are you going to prepare, for these activities? I believe there's a lot of preparations behind the scene, even before we have our call today, even before we have our talk today. So it's always good, if it's relatable, it's good to put it in there as well. And to showcase to them that I'm someone that I'm able to manage my time effectively and able to juggle, with a few tasks, given to me. And I'm someone that I'm flexible to always learn, to take on other opportunities, not just on the task, or even though now I'm a student, I just focus on studies, but at the same time, I'm able to take on more and things like that. So that's something that you can share with them as well.
All right, thank you for the explanation. I think next question will be Beta.
Okay, thank you, Mas Rizky. So for the next question, for Mr. Francinaga, you can deliver the questions.
All right, thank you so much. Good evening, Miss Michelle. I have two questions. My first question is, what kind of soft skills that really exist or stand on a long time for better career? And the second one, how do you think between work and education can be in line or together, happen at the same time? What do you think about this, Miss?
So you're talking about the soft skills as well as the academy, right?
Yeah.
That you have. Okay, good. I would say both are relatively important, but as my experience, honestly, and also based on my observations, when I look at the candidates, of course, academy, I would say it's important, right? We need to have a certain level of education in our life and achieve certain academy, but I would say academy is not everything. The most important thing is about yourself. It's what kind of attitudes are you bringing, and what kind of potentials that a recruiter are looking for, especially for our early career programs. When I interview a candidate, when I put through them, what we are looking for and the managers looking for is, we see something in you which is very different, that something in you that we can grow, that we can develop, that you are committed, that you're willing to grow, right? So the growth mindset is very important. The flexibility in yourself is very important. The confidence. At times, I know, some of the students will lack of confidence because they are not used to be talking, to big audience, to a lot of people. But at least we need to see the commitment that you carry, the passions, the enthusiasms, right? You carry in yourself. So that is basically what we are looking for. It's no longer, in Bakers, it's no longer just academy by itself, but it's really you, the potentials that you can bring, and the potentials that we can see we can grow together with the individual.
All right, Lisa. And the second one?
You're talking about academy? Could you repeat your second again?
Yeah, how do you think about between working and education? Happen together, can be in line altogether at the same time?
I would say yes, because certain positions or certain roles would require a certain level of educations and certain skills, right? Some short skills, certificates, or certain educations does required in order for you to perform a role. So it's really, I would say it really depends on the roles that you're actually applying, that you're working on. For example, if you're doing some research role, you're doing some R&D, of course, you will need to have a certain levels of education, which is aligned what you need to put it into or implement into it. So I would say, really, it depends on the roles that you're working. But of course, the fundamental, the basic one would be what you need as at least, a degrees, in whatever you do. But after that, what you wanted to move forward, whether should I get an MBA, should I get a PhD, and things like that, is really aligned in terms of what the roles that offer to you. Because the reason why a lot of adults, or working experienced person, after they progress along their career, they will pursue an MBA or master, because they felt that they need a certain skills of management to be able for them to move into a more management level position or a senior position. So it's something required by the role that you would like to actually have on the skills. That's where you kind of like progress towards it. I would say yes, it's definitely important.
All right, Miss. I have one question. Maybe this is out of the track, but it relates to about human resources. What do you think about this? What aspects supporting to success, diversity, and inclusion in corporate that can achieve sustainable goal for company development?
I will say I definitely agree with you that diversities and inclusions are important. And this is something that in Baker, we kind of highly practice it, and we do highly acknowledge that it's very important, because each of us are different, and with the different background, diverse background, with the ideas, with the kind of culture that we have, right? And things that we can work together, and you will see some creativities coming up. So definitely this is something very important that Baker Hughes always stress on it, that we are quite highly onto it, that we wanted to have a diversity and inclusion communities. So we even have a lot of initiative coming up, on the DE&I stuff in Baker Hughes, and also we are looking into some other inclusions. When I say diversity inclusion, it doesn't mean just gender per se. We even have, certain countries, we have the Black engineers, we would like to have some minorities joining the team as well, because we do treasure and we do encourage the different diverse kind of background will give a different kind of perspective and ideas, and how we can grow as a company and how we can sustain as well.
All right, Miss Michelle, thank you so much. It's so insightful that you have answered my all questions. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. Kanya, if you have anything to add on, feel free to unmute yourself to just add on. Yeah.
Don't be shy.
Okay, so maybe we can jump to the next questions. For in the chat box, we have questions from Mr. Barasangka Laktana Siregar. He wants to ask about the biggest difficulty for a fresh graduate working at Baker Hughes, according to Michelle's experience.
I wouldn't say there is difficulty, honestly. We hire quite a number of fresh graduates, especially our early career programs. I would say that we hire, I think 50-60% of them are totally fresh, zero from schools. That means they don't even have any years of experience, and we even hire some of them where they are about to graduate. When I say they completed their exam, it's just that they haven't done their convocations. So that's where normally they say they have not graduated, but they have gotten all their results and things like that. We even hire that kind of students as well, based on your majors, based on, as I mentioned earlier, what you can bring to the tables, right? Your attributes, your attitudes that you bring to the company. So basically, we do hire that kind of things, and I don't see that would be one of the challenges for fresh graduates. And if you say working in Bakers, what I can see is that I think what you need is like what Rizky just now said, don't shy, right? There's no right or wrong questions. There is no right or wrong things that you should have done. Even though you are fresh grad, it doesn't matter. I mean, in Baker Hughes, we don't really see you or treat someone based on the levels. Everyone are equal for us. So it's inclusion community. Everyone are free to speak up, and anyone can actually ask someone to stop working if they see a risk of H, S, and E. So that's where we actually practice in Baker. So what I can see is that be confident and be open to actually connect with anyone. So I think the most important thing is the connections. Don't feel shy. Don't feel that you are junior, you are fresh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't, connect with these people. There's no such thing in Baker. So everyone are equal. You can approach anyone and you can actually reach out to anyone or voice out something if you see that this is not appropriate or you have some doubt or you need some clarifications. So everyone in Bakers are willing to help each other on that.
Okay, thank you for the kind advice, Michelle. I think maybe for Mr. Barasongka, you can give us response in the chat box if you still have any follow-up questions, or is it already enough from you? And while we're waiting for the response from Mr. Bara, maybe we can continue to the next questions from any other participants, because in the chat box for Mr. Fajar's questions, I think we have already discussed it before.
Yep.
In the Mr. Fabrian's questions. Is it quite similar? And for the last questions, maybe from other participants, is there any?
All right. Oh, nggak ada ya. All right, since we almost reached our limit time, I'm afraid will be the last question from us, and also as a closing statement, maybe from Michelle. So the question is, can you give some tips for young professional or fresh graduates in building of sense of optimism? We know that these last few years we have struggling with our pandemic situation. So could you please some tips with building in sense of optimism and how to build a good mentality and self-development during the seeking job period? Go
Okay.
ahead. Thank you.
I will say the tips is, there is no shortcut way, right? Connection is very important, and it's good also to build your own personal branding. All of us actually have our own personal branding. Let's look at it like when someone just walked into the room, or when you saw me, on the video, you will definitely have the first impressions of that person already. That person look confident, smiling, bubbly, and that kind of stuff. So you will have that kind of impressions to that person, right? So always be confident. That is, as I mentioned, eager to learn. Keep the positive mindset always. Even no matter how many times you face with failure, remember, failure is the way to success, right? Because if you don't fail, you will not know how you're able to success it, right? So that's very important. Keep that positive vibes mentality with you. I know it's a very tough past 2-3 years. Every one of us are facing the same thing, and we get a bit demotivated, and we find a lot of rejection. There's a lot of industry are not hiring, especially for young graduates. Maybe they felt that this is not the right time that they graduate, because a lot of industry are not hiring. And now, as you can see, more and more companies are back to normal. It's happened everywhere. It's not just to you. It's not just to certain companies, right? It's actually a global stuff that we can't avoid. So we just have to take it and dwell with it, and basically acknowledge it, right? We shouldn't ignore. We should just acknowledge it. It happens. So what we can do better and what we can actually move forward is that persistency is very important. Always have that positive one, and always treat it as the first time when you go for an interviews. So not just because of your past experience, a bad experience that you have faced with one company, or based on some interviews that you have done, and you think that everyone are the same. No, just treat everyone as if this is your first time. I think that will actually help to kind of like, okay, this is my first time doing it, and I will have a better mentality, and I'm prepared for all of this. So persistency, keep the things going on. always try because I just attended a career fair last week, and one of the candidates come to me and said, Michelle, I tried to apply to Baker Hughes back in 2021 and 2022, but I'm not successful. Is there any tips? Unfortunately, there's no tips. Unfortunately, there's no shortcut way, right? Because we have very limited positions and we sometimes receive thousands of applications. So it's maybe just not the right time or not the opportunity yet, but definitely it will arise, because I remember one of the managers that joined us from one of the countries said that, Michelle, I tried 5 times before I'm able to join into Baker Hughes, and now I'm here as a leader. So always, try and learn and try to connect with, follow us, connect with some of the leaders. You can actually find us on LinkedIn as well at times. So try to actually learn more. If you really wanted to know about the company, learn more about the company, get connected and build the relations. You will not know one day you will be able to join or you'll be able to get something else. Maybe not directly to the company, but the partnership, the collaborations definitely happens. And I believe that everything happens for reasons. Okay, so that's a few tips, that I can share with all the students here today.
Wow, what a great motivation, inspiration from Michelle. Okay, so here we have, since this is the last question and we have reached our end of question and answer session, so we want to deliver you a quick summary from Beta. So please, you could deliver.
Okay, so thank you, Michelle, for giving us such an insightful session, great presentation, and also thank you for answering our concern and curiosity regarding the career life. And thank you also for all the participants who has been participated in the discussions. So here, like Mas Rizky mentioned before, I'm going to give you a brief summary about our session. So in the past hour, we have discussed about how to excel the recruitment process, starting from the tips and tricks to write an outstanding resume, the importance of having the right way of preparations, and not just that, but also a closer look in the Baker Hughes, such as the work culture, the challenges, and also the environment for the fresh graduates in the Baker Hughes, and also many variety of development programs and also career progressions that also has been mentioned by Michelle. And if you want to know more about the program, you can visit Baker Hughes website, as the Michelle has already mentioned before in this. Okay, maybe that's all from me, Mas Rizky. And also, once again, I want to express my gratitude to Michelle as a speaker for our event today, and also for all the participants who has joined us. Hope you have a great time, and I'm giving back to Mas Rizky.
All right, thank you, Beta, for the summary. Okay, and for me, once again, thank you, Michelle, for such a great inspiration and insightful motivation, and also the most important things is a job vacancy from Baker Hughes.
Yep.
Okay. Once again, thank you so much, Michelle. I think for the next agenda, I will give it back to the MC from Mas Odesha. Over to you, Mas Ode. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mas Rizky and Ms. Beta, for guiding us through the question and answer session. So we are near to the end of this event by the end of the question and answer. But before that, I would like to ask the participants for their willingness to fill out the feedback form, which I will share. Please allow me to share my screen first. Okay, so please, participants, filling this feedback form, and which already dropped on the chat box too. Okay, and then we will go to the next agenda, which is the given the token of appreciation for our speakers and as well as for the moderators. So for the speaker, here's the certificate of appreciation for Michelle as our honorable speakers for our event. Thank you very much once again, Michelle, for your willingness.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. Thanks for inviting Bakers as well.
Yeah, thank you very much for your willingness to be our speakers on our event, giving us such a great information, insightful knowledge, and your experience is valuable to us. Please, yeah, please wait a moment to take a short moment to capture. Please, Mbak Fanya, could you please assistant to us?
Okay, Mas Ode, Michelle, please smile. I will take a picture in 3, 2. Okay, Mas Ode.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. And next, we will give our token of appreciation for our moderators. The first for Mas Rizky, Rahmadsyah, Lubis. Thank you very much for your willingness to be a moderator of our event. And also, we would like to take a short capture. Please, Mbak Fanya.
Okay, smile ya. 3, 2, 1. Okay, Mas Ode.
Thank you, Mas Ade. Mbak Fanya.
Okay, siap. And then also for our co-moderator from the students, thank you, Beta, for volunteering as our co-moderator for this event, and hope after this there is a lot of participation from the students to join on our event. Okay, thank you, Beta, and here's the certificate of appreciation. Please wait a moment to take capture.
Okay, thank you so much.
Smile again ya. 3, 2, 1. Okay, Mas Ode.
All right. By the end of the certification token of appreciation is we already reached the end of our event. Once again, on behalf of the committee, I would like to say thank you very much for the participants and also for the speakers, and hope what we get tonight's session is valuable for all of us. Okay.
Thank you all.
I think we already end up this session.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, everyone who joined us.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you, committees. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Beta.
Thank you also, Mas Rizky.
Bye. Take care.